members will instruct and assist you to board them. The captain asks all passengers with children to please be aware that running is not allowed on board, and your children must be with you at all times. Standing on the seats or handrails is also not allowed. Please use the litter bins throughout the vessel and never discard rubbish over the side. The entire Spirit of Loch Ness vessel is a no-smoking zone, so there is no smoking permitted anywhere on the vessel. We have a bar on the lower deck with a good selection of beers, souvenirs and, of course, malt whiskies. Toilets are located on the lower deck. If you need any further help or information, please feel free to ask a member of the crew. So now sit back, relax and enjoy the wonders of Loch Ness in the Great Glen of Scotland. But please don't feed the monsters. Travelling across the world-famous Loch Ness, but there is more of interest in this deep dark valley than just the monster. Loch Ness is part of the Great Glen of Scotland, a geological fault line which runs from under the North Sea in the northeast to the edge of the Atlantic shelf in the southwest. It cuts Scotland in two. The rocks which form the Highlands of Scotland were laid down in warm tropical seas far to the south of the equator more than 500 million years ago. Around 400 million years ago, the continents of North America and Europe collided, and this created an enormous mountain chain. Those mountains are known as the Caledonians. 20 million years later, the Great Glen fault line was formed, and the mountains to the north of the loch slipped 65 miles, 100 kilometres to the southwest, forming a huge valley. Eventually, North America drifted away, the Atlantic opened, and as continents entered northern latitudes, they drew down upon themselves the great ice ages, and our enormous jagged mountains were eroded to the stumps you see on either side of you during your journey today. When the last ice age finished, about 12,000 years ago, Loch Ness filled with fresh water and took the form you see today. Vegetation and trees arrived, but most were cut down during medieval times to produce charcoal for smelting, and the pine forests you see here today are mainly introduced species like larch, Douglas fir, sitka, and Norwegian spruce, and even some sequoia. Our only native pine, the Scots pine, is best seen in nature reserves such as Glen Affric. Peat bogs stain the rainwater, and it is that which makes the loch's waters appear so dark. The loch is around 23 miles long, averages 1 mile wide, and is 754 feet deep. That is 35 kilometres long, 1.5 kilometres wide, and 230 metres deep. You could put the population of the world into Loch Ness more than 3 times over, and it contains more water than all the lakes, rivers and reservoirs of both England and Wales combined, including the whole of the English Lake District. On the south side of the loch is the concealed entrance of Gorey's Cave. Gorey's real name was Alexander MacDonald, a notorious cattle thief. He used the cave as a hideout. As a survivor of the Battle of Culloden, he was determined to assassinate the Redcoat commander, the Duke of Cumberland, in revenge for the beating taken slain by his fellow clansmen during the battle. Lying in wait on the hillside, he saw his chance when the Duke and his troops happened by. Gorey's blunderbuss was full of shot and nails. He remained hidden while he waited for the Duke to come into range. Unfortunately for Gorey, the shot was a bad one and missed. He immediately turned to flee back to his cave and was pursued by the Redcoat soldiers who lost sight of him in the heather. With food and supplies being brought by his wife and other village folk, he managed to remain hidden in the cave for several months. Eventually, the Redcoats gave up the search, and the tale does not tell what finally became of this fugitive from Cumberland's rough justice.
So the piece of land to our right-hand side is a very remote part of the country. The nearest road is a single track road, 3 or 4 miles over these hills. The land that you see is all wild, untouched, native species of trees to the country. Wildlife you need to look out for are wild goats, an abundance of deer, red deer, roe deer, sika deer, smaller animals such as red squirrels, pine martens, although you do need very good eyesight to see those. And up high in the sky, plenty of birds of prey, common buzzards, red kites, peregrine falcons, if you're lucky, white-tailed sea eagles. You've been seeing them quite frequently recently. Unfortunately though, the ospreys are long gone. They left tail end of August, first week of September, away back to Africa. But we do have 4 nesting pairs, so 4 birds, 2 pairs of ospreys that come and nest on the loch every year. The water level is back up again. We've had a very hot period of time, 3-4 months of nothing but sunshine, so it was getting worrying. The loch water dropped by about 3 foot. It was the lowest it's been on record. Nice to see water in the waterfalls and the birds flowing down the hillside again, really. Keep your eyes peeled. If we see anything, we'll be sure to slow down and point them out to you.
Get this far with kayak, couldn't you? I mean, set up there.
Yeah, they get
First, have you got this?
very deep it is well.
Just about 6 potatoes. It does drop.
Straight off.
Yeah, to the straight sides. I don't know if they're right, but
Yeah.
maybe it's like a wall in it.
Christ. In the early 20th century, one of the monks from Port Augustus used an early diving suit to study its construction, which is mainly substantial trees crisscrossing each other for foundations. It was constructed as a defence structure. Some pits built homes on islands with access walkways to shore. Not only did these provide protection from wild animals and easy access for fishing, but they were also very easy to defend. If an enemy were attacking, firstly they would find it difficult to gain access, and in most cases would just steal some animals and move on. If, however, it was a more substantial force, the walkway could be burned, preventing the enemy gaining access at all. There are many crannies in Scotland, and several have been studied by archaeologists who have found charcoal along the lines of the submerged walkways, showing that this tactic had been used on several occasions. When the Caledonian Canal was constructed, the water level was raised by 2 metres. This is causing waves to erode Cherry Island, and it will one day sink into the loch. As we approach the entrance to the Caledonian Canal, we are reaching the end of our cruise adventure on Loch Ness. The canal itself is remarkable in its own right, and once you've disembarked, we recommend that you walk up the flight of locks to get a feel for this wonder of pre-Victorian construction, which was built during the reigns of George III and George IV. It was built between 1803 and 1822, is 60 miles, 95 kilometres long, rises to 150 feet above sea level, 45 metres, and comprises 39 locks, 10 bridges and 4 aqueducts. The construction engineer was Thomas Telford. Of the length of the canal, almost 2/3 are made up of the natural Loch Ness, Loch Oich and Loch Lochy. It was constructed to provide a safe passage through Scotland to save ships from travelling the more treacherous routes around the north of Scotland, which was susceptible to storms and French privateers. Shortly after opening, the construction of larger steamships meant that its usefulness was restricted, and it might have been forced to close. It survived that and many other attempts to close it, the last of which was in the 1990s, and today it is a subsidised protected monument. Commercial vessels do use the canal, but it is now primarily used by tourist vessels such as ours, and many cabin cruisers and barges. There is a canal museum on the right-hand side of the staircase of locks if you would like more information. Our cruise today is now complete, and we will shortly be manoeuvring to our berth, so please remain seated until instructed by the crew.